Hello, fellow freelancers. So today I want to talk about something a bit serious, a bit more serious, and because I want to talk about payment, about money. And this was a question I received recently about an invoice, an overdue invoice. And I'm not going to share his name because I can't remember if he messaged me privately or not, or if it was a public comment. Anyway, but basically what he said was he hadn't been paid in 3 years and he wanted to see how he can chase this overdue payment. And so I know I've touched on this in the past in some videos, but it's been a while, and so I thought I should have a more of a definitive sort of video that details and talks about how to deal with payments before they can become overdue and then also overdue. So let's get into it. First of all, when you invoice a client, you need to, first of all, this is serious. This is a very serious thing. This is the reason why you're in this business, is to earn money. You need to take your money seriously. You need to take your payments seriously. And any job that you've done, you've earned that money. It's absolutely yours. You can't take any lip or any excuses or whatever it might be from the agency. A couple things you cannot accept from the agency. If they tell you that they are having accounting issues, that's not your problem. They are still late in the payment. Now, having said that, I like to give a bit of leeway. If they're having accounting issues, I'll work with them and help out. Usually accounting issues means they haven't gotten to it yet and they're just disorganized. But, I'll be like, oh, that's okay. Just hurry up. Or, I'll be waiting for the payment, stuff like that. Another thing that you absolutely cannot accept is if they say, the end client has not paid me yet, and so I can't pay you yet. No. You did your work for the agency. That's it. Not for the end client or whoever hired them in the place. They take on that risk. That's why they're the agency. They get paid more than you do. And that's why they get paid more, because they take on that risk. And you cannot accept that as a reason for not getting paid. Absolutely not. And you say, I'm sorry about that. But on the other hand, my contract is with you. And it's absolutely, my contract is with you, so I expect to get paid for the work that I did, that I earned. And, anyway, we'll get into it a bit later, but for now, I just wanted to mention that. So what do? What I do usually is I invoice them. When I invoice them, I give them clear cut rules. I say payment is due within 7 days, within 30 days, whatever it might be. A lot of times I've seen payment due upon receipt, which basically means it's due right away. I prefer to give something precise, 7 days, 30 days, whatever it might be, because sometimes they prefer 30 days, but otherwise I usually just put 7 days. And then right under that, I say a late fee of 10% will be added to any late payments, because otherwise they'll come in late all the time. Now, there are other options here as well. I've seen other people have kind of an incremental thing for every week that it's late. I tack on 1 extra percent or something like that. You can do that. I don't mess around with that much. I just have that 10%. Also because, that's usually enough to get them to pay on time. And I give a bit of leeway. If they're a day or two late or whatever it might be, if, I remind them when it's due and then they pay me, then it's fine. But otherwise, yeah, I start charging that 10%. And it's already hard enough to get that 10%. So that's why I don't keep adding and adding. However, I definitely have that, and I have clear-cut rules, and you absolutely need clear-cut rules of when the payment is due and what the consequences are if it isn't paid, i.e. the late fee. So that's what I do. And then I wait for it to be due. So say it's due on the 31st. 31st, I haven't received payment. Good. On the 1st, I email them, and I just say, my accounts say that it was supposed to be due on the 31st, and I still haven't received it. Could you please let me know when I can expect payment? Usually, again, what happened was they dropped the ball somehow, and they'll be like, oh yeah, sorry, we'll have it to you within a few days. And then I get it within a few days, and that's fine. Once again, if that happens, I usually don't enforce the late payment, just because I like to work with them and for us to have a good relationship going forward. I mean, if I don't like the agency, then yeah, I will, because I've got nothing to lose and I don't care about working with them again. But no, for the most part, that's how it is. And but say they don't pay me back, or I don't hear from them. Then I email them again a week later, and I say, you still owe me payment, and it was due a week ago, and so please let me know when I can expect payment. And at this point is when red flags start going off. So what I tried to do at this point is then I go back, because I have their email address, whatever company it is, whatever the name of the agency, I find every email address I can for that agency and every phone number, because at this point I'm kind of collecting all the information just in case. And usually this means, like, I just do a Google search. If it's XYZ agency, then I search XYZ agency email or contact, and I find out all the email addresses they have, and I collect those, because my next email goes to all of them. And it literally, and what I say is and I detail, I on this date I delivered a translation, and it was accepted by you, and payment was due on this date. I still haven't received any payment. Please let me know when I can expect payment, because I expect it. Now, I might not email everyone right away, and I might give them some leeway, but I would like to collect those email addresses right away just so I have them ready, just in case. And sometimes what I might do is, like, if I don't hear back, like if they're not emailing me back at all, I might say, if I don't hear back from you, I'll be contacting other people in your company or something along those lines, just to show them that I'm serious. I also collect the phone numbers, because after I emailed everyone in the company, then I can start calling as well. And there too, I'll call during their office hours, and I'll say, hi, I performed a translation for you, and I'd like to speak to somebody in payroll about it, something along those lines, and kind of see where that takes me and what happens. And here what I'm doing is kind of bothering them enough so that at some point they get bothered enough that they actually pay me just to get me off their back. What if they still don't pay you? Well, so at this point, I also let them know, I was like, if I don't hear from you, I'm going to go on the blue board and, whatever it might be online, and, you're forcing me to give you a very bad review. And if they're a translation agency, they take these seriously. They should take these seriously, the blue board especially, because everyone goes to the blue board. Everyone knows the blue board, and very often people don't even apply to companies that have a bad blue board rating. And so, yeah, if they're overdue and they're not getting back in touch with me, I have no communication with them, or they're totally trying to play me, I'm absolutely going to give them a bad review on the blue board. And there are other places you can give them bad reviews as well. There's the blue board. There's a Translators Cafe, Hall of Fame and Shame. There's a Twitter account that actually keeps track of this stuff that I really don't remember. I just come across it every now and then. Sorry. But anyway, there are places online where you can give them a bad review, and you should absolutely do that. And I would say wait until it's past more than a month overdue and you have been constantly contacting them about this. And either they haven't gotten back in touch with you, or if they've blatantly been lying, boom. At that point, you do that, because hopefully you're hitting them a bit where it hurts. And if they get a bad review on the blue board, then they might pay you just so you take away that bad review. And and people do that. And and they'll say, they put an edit, say, I edited this because they finally paid me, and blah blah blah, whatever. Or you just take away the bad review, whatever you want to do. But you definitely you need to start trying to hit them where it hurts. Now, the thing is, a lot of them don't think you can go after, like, I don't know how to put this. It's not that they're untouchable, but they feel like you really have no recourse, because in a way you're not going to hire a lawyer. Chances are whatever they owe you isn't enough to hire legal counsel. And it's very hard to go to arbitration or anything along those lines, because chances are you're in a different country from the agency. And so it would automatically be something international, which would be very hard. By the way, I think in my very first video I made on this channel, I said there should be an organization, association that kind of pools together pools together resources, so all the translators can kind of put together any past payment due that they have. Anyway, I talked about it a bit in my very first video, because there needs to be a solution to this, and I was hoping someone who has some legal background and a bit of entrepreneurialness inside them could figure something out. As far as I know, it doesn't exist yet though, but those are basically the steps to follow. I won't go into too much more detail. I do have still right now some payments that are due for me from years ago. I still email every email address that I have of that company every single week. And I have everything detailed in every single email that I send. And now I just copy and paste it of it. Or now, in fact, I have a program that sends it out every week. But it's the same email with the same attachments showing exactly how I performed the translation, how they posted my translation on their website. So they obviously accepted it, but I never got paid for it. And it's, they receive it every week. And sometimes I try to find new email addresses to bother them. And sometimes they got back in touch with me. They've probably blocked me at this point. I don't think I'm going to get paid. It's been 5 years now. But, I keep sending it out because why not? And, but you should try that. Another thing with the phone number you can do, if you're not in the same area that they're in, maybe you have family or friends who are in the same area. And I did this once, and I had someone call a company in Italy that wasn't paying me, and I was not in Italy at the time. But this person said, basically phoned pretending to be my assistant and said, you owe, Robert so-and-so, whatever, like such and such amount of money. I'll be passing by your office, and so you can feel free to give me the payment. I can pass by your office today or tomorrow or whenever. And if I don't hear back from you, I'll pass by this afternoon. And I remember it was something like that. But I got an email back that day, and I got an email back saying I received the payment. So I told my friend to lay off, and by the end of the week, I got payment. And so anyway, but the important thing is you need to stay on top of it. You absolutely need to. You cannot drop the ball. And so yeah, when you come to me and saying it's 3 years overdue, that's hard. I would try all these methods anyway because they still owe you the money. You did it. But it's very hard to get paid after 3 years. In fact, I even saw an agency, someone wrote on the Blue Board, gave a bad review and said, oh, it's been 1.5 years since I performed the translation, I haven't been paid. And the translation agency even replied, they said, oh, it's been over 1 year since, how do you expect us to pay you if you, don't ask for payment for over 1 year or something like that. I guess this person had dropped the ball, hadn't asked them in over 1 year. But they're still owed the money. But for some reason, the agency felt it fine to write down it's been 1.5 years or however long it's been. And so how can you still expect payment? Which, so you need to stay on top of this stuff. And, now if it's been 3 years, quite frankly, I'd go, you've got nothing to lose. Find every email address you can, every phone number you can of the people who work there. Any way to get in touch with them. And try to do it. Give them a bad review. Try to hit them where it hurts. However, unfortunately, he wrote to me. He didn't tell me the name of the agency. Otherwise, I'd have no problem saying it here. If they're cheating people out of their money, because I hate that. And so give them a bad review. What if you have a big Twitter following? Tweet it out. I mean, whatever you can do, right? And but yeah, you want to do something along those lines and try to hit them where it hurts and try to just stay on top of it, and then be available for them to pay you. You also, and this is a bit separate, but you want to make it as easy as possible for them to pay you. So PayPal, bank transfer, whatever it might be, but that's secondary. The main thing is you want them to pay you. And yeah, so hopefully this helps you out. These are the steps that I take. I think the important thing is to have a plan in place so you can get paid. And you can make sure that, that it doesn't get lost. And you definitely don't want to be in the situation where you're looking at past accounts and you're like, hey, 1 year ago, that person, I performed that translation for that person. They haven't paid me yet. I should email them. No, you need to be on top of this. And whatever system you have, as soon as it's due, enter it into your calendar. I have kind of an accounting system. So every week I see what was due. And so then I can follow up with them. But you need some sort of system. And they have these systems that you can get online that you can buy. I don't use any accounting software. I just kind of have my own system just because I'm used to it. But yeah, if you get this accounting software and it works for you, then absolutely use that as well. But just make sure you find a way to stay on top of it because payment is very important and it's an important matter and you need to get paid for what you do. By the way, it's kind of a rite of passage of every translator to have at least one client not pay them or be very difficult about it. But, you really want to minimize that. And I have a policy now where until I get that first payment from a client, I won't do a second translation for them. And so, and I tell them that, because anyway, I won't complain too much, but anyway, that's the way I deal with it. And, now I'm transitioning more as an agency, so I also have to take it more seriously. But even as a translator, I think it's something you should do because you don't want to do 5 jobs for them and realize that they're not going to pay you. So anyway, that's all I have to say about that. I'll stop this rant. I mean, it's more than a rant. It's really, I hope you can find it useful because all of you are going to be, as soon as you start performing jobs, you're going to be chasing money down. And so you need to make sure that you can get paid and that you have a way to get paid, because unfortunately you have people who are dishonest out there who just drop the ball and they forget. And so you need to be on top of it to remind them. By the way, most of the time that I've had issues, probably 95% of the time, they just forget. Or, you know, they're not too diligent about following up and they expect me to follow up. Otherwise, they won't do anything about it. And, you know, so you need to stay on top of it and do it. But yeah, hopefully you found this useful and you can use it when you're chasing payments. And but otherwise, I will talk to you next time with another video about translation or about freelancing in general. Don't forget to click like if you find this video useful. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. And don't forget that I have a course called How to Be a Successful Freelance Translator. Cheapest place to find it is in the description here below. There's a link to it. And that's pretty much it. I'll see you in the next video. Okay, thanks. Bye. Savedum.